In 1968, Mel Brooks created a hilarious movie about two producers who decide to pull off the ultimate get-rich-quick scheme by putting on the worst play ever. In 2001, Brooks adapted it to the stage as a Broadway musical, resulting in a multiple Tony Award-winning success. So it made logical sense to then make a film adaptation of the stage show, which was released in 2005. To mixed reviews and disappointing box office. However, I thought the movie was a delightful experience, and it's one I continue to revisit. To get this defense started, I want to make it clear that this version of The Producers is not a remake of Brooks' 1968 film. It is based entirely on the stage musical, very faithfully in fact. Aside from a few cut songs, a few songs shortened, and a couple fourth wall jokes tweaked, The Producers follows the Broadway show very closely. Some of the same production team even worked on both, most notably director Susan Stroman. This brings me to the first criticism often thrown at the movie, that it felt like Stroman merely plopped the camera down in front of the stage and filmed the show, to which I say, yeah, that's kind of the point. Mel Brooks wanted to make the movie for two reasons. He wanted to preserve Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick's performances from the show, and he wanted to give audiences who otherwise cannot afford to fly down to Broadway and see the stage show or wait for a touring production a chance to see The Producers. The movie is also purposely filmed in the style of movie musicals of the 1950s, which tended to be shot on sound stages and studio backlots and did have a certain stagey look to them. I think Todd McCarthy's review in Variety said it best when he wrote, "The Producers could make a case for being the best film musical of 1959. This movie was released a few years after Moulin Rouge and Chicago popularized a quick-cutting and MTV-style approach to editing movie musicals. I love those two films, and that style of editing works for them. However, there was something nice about how unashamedly old-fashioned The Producers was in its style of editing and cinematography. Stroman's preference for wide shots and minimal cutting really allows the audience to take in and appreciate her choreography. She was accused of not treating it like a movie, but she does take advantage of this being a movie at a number of points. In the stage show, when Leo agrees to join Max's scheme, he runs back to his office, and they do the reprise of We Can Do It there. For the movie, they decided to change the setting to Central Park, resulting in a lovely scene at the fountain. The Along Came the Alley number is also filmed largely outside. When you see the stage show, you essentially play the role of the audience watching Springtime for Hitler. The movie, on the other hand, allows us to see the audience go from shock to laughing hysterically. Meanwhile, production designer Mark Freeberg was able to expand on Robin Wagner's sets from the musical, giving us more of Max's office and the surrounding area around the Schubert Theater. The sets for the I Want to Be a Producer number are especially a highlight, and almost feel like sets Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers could have tap danced on several decades prior. Another thing The Producers was accused of was not dialing down the actors, resulting in performances that were over the top and broad. I mean, this is a Mel Brooks script. When I see a Mel Brooks project, I'm expecting to see actors play to the balcony seats. Plus, these are characters who are larger than life. It's a little tricky to play Bialystok and Bloom subtly. Even Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder in the original film were loud and over the top. It's just the nature of the cartoonish universe Brooks devised. I personally think all the actors did a wonderful job. Nathan Lane is one of my favorite comedic actors, and he really captured the slimeball nature of Max Bialystok and his desperation to make money by any means possible. Matthew Broderick brought the appropriate nervous quality to Leo Bloom, and successfully shows him coming more out of his shell as the story progresses. That final moment when Max hands him his producer's hat is incredibly heartwarming. Will Ferrell displays Franz Liebkin's blind devotion to Hitler, but to a needed silly degree, and there are plenty of laughs in seeing Max and Leo react to his absurd declarations. You have to believe this man would write a play as absurd as Springtime for Hitler, and Ferrell sells it. Uma Thurman is wonderful as Swedish secretary/receptionist Ulla, with her best moments coming when she acts alongside Broderick. That Face musical number is one of the film's highlights, and I credit that largely to not only Stroman's expert choreography, but also the winning chemistry between the two actors. Thurman also does well in hinting at Ulla being a lot smarter than Max and Leo take her for. In contrast to Leo's genuine love for her, The Producers also shows Max drooling over and ogling Ulla and making sexually suggestive remarks. Do you think Mel Brooks was trying to tell us something about show business and the sleaziness of many who work there? Need I remind you that one of the producers of the stage show was, not even joking here, Harvey Weinstein. Fans of the 1968 movie tend to be disappointed that the character of Lorenzo Saint-Bois, who plays Hitler, was deleted from the stage show and this film. However, with the time period changed from the late 60s to 1959, this hippie would have been out of place. The decision to have the flamboyant director Roger Debris play Hitler instead is actually quite a clever idea. Debris replaces Franz Liebkind at last minute, which throws one final unexpected wrench in Max and Leo's plan. They think the bad taste concept will be enough to get the audience to hate the play, but don't foresee Roger's camp betrayal changing the entire nature of Springtime Fiddler, from a love letter to a biting satire. It really goes to show how getting a different actor to play the lead role can impact the entire production. Let's talk about the main motivation behind Mel Brooks writing the story to begin with, and that's to take Nazis down several pegs. Nazis are terrible people, and anything that makes them look ridiculous is a-okay with me. I think comedy is one of the best weapons against a fascist movement and regime. When you get people to laugh at and ridicule them, it's such a blow to their ego and the power they hold. Hitler was undoubtedly a dangerous man who caused millions of deaths and countless destruction, and we should never forget the atrocities he committed. Yet there's also something rather ridiculous looking about him, with his stupid haircut, absurd and over-the-top way of speaking, and those rallies filled with goose-stepping zombies. Charlie Chaplin himself recognized this when he made The Great Dictator back in 1940, and if more people had laughed at him rather than hanging on to his every word, so much evil could have been prevented. Mel Brooks justifiably has a lot of anger towards Nazis and anti-Semites, and that spilled into the producers. By having a Jewish man write this musical and getting a gay man to portray Hitler, that's two groups persecuted by the Nazis, taking the ultimate revenge against them, and it's extremely cathartic. Beyond poking fun at Nazis, the producers is ultimately about the blossoming friendship between two men, who at first seem like complete polar opposites, but then find a connection through their desire to put on a show, whether good or bad. Leo Bloom is an especially relatable character, with his desire to do more of his life and fulfill his lifelong dream of being a producer. Although that's one of several reasons I enjoy The Producer so much. I love it how it accurately recreates the style of movie musicals from the 40s and 50s. I love it for Mel Brooks' characteristic Borscht Belt style of comedy. I love it for the wonderful chemistry between Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, who bring their own dynamic to Bialystok and Bloom. I love it for the memorable and clever songs that are part of every scene. And I love it for telling an evil group of oppressors that they're not welcome. And if you've never seen the stage show, this movie is absolutely the next best thing. I was actually really hyped for this film prior to its release, and it did not disappoint, as I was given exactly what I wanted. I've seen it multiple times since then, and I still laugh at many of the jokes. Even the deleted scenes are excellent. And if you feel like laughing even more, the DVD has maybe the funniest blooper reel I've ever seen. If you have never watched The Producers, I highly recommend giving this movie a look and laughing yourself silly. See you next time.